Welcome back. So today I want to chat with you a little bit about a human resource issue that came up recently with a consulting client that we were working with. And the issue relates directly to how do you treat your employees? And I've seen this over and over again in different businesses, and I certainly struggled with this, when I was a business owner and had a few dozen employees, is how do you really treat them? Do you treat them as a business, as an employee, or do you treat them more like a family member? And certainly my attitude then was, and similar to many small business owners that I deal with today, is that you want to treat your employees like family. You want to care for them, you want to provide for them as best you can, and do everything you can do to make them successful in the hope that in turn they'll make your company successful. And to a large extent that works, but ultimately you're setting yourself up for disappointment at some point, just as I did. And the reason for that is that an employee will never have the same commitment to the business that you have. You're the owner or one of the owners. You are financially vested in the business. You need to stick around. When things get hard, that's when you need to be at your best. Dig in, solve the problem, turn things around. That attitude isn't always prevalent, or does it exist in your employees? And the reason for that is simple, is they're not as invested in you, in the business, or really quite frankly, or in you, as you might think they are. When things are good, it's easy to get buy-in from employees. When things get difficult, that's when you really see who's committed to the business and who isn't. And more often than not, the employee will disappoint you at some point that they are not as committed to the company or to you as you believe they were. And this is certainly something that I experienced over and over again in my tenure as a business owner, dealing with dozens of employees, going through the hiring process, managing the HR, trying to balance all those things myself, is that you really get emotionally invested in the people that work for you, but that's not always the case for them. They don't get emotionally invested in you or in your business like you hope they would. And that is evident certainly when a better business opportunity or employment opportunity, or at least they think it's better, comes across their desk and they leave. And you're thinking, that was the employee I hired when he really needed a job. That was the employee I invested training in. That was the employee I bought groceries for when his wife was sick and they needed a bit of a leg up. You do all these different things for people, hoping that it will be reciprocated. And it usually is reciprocated while it's good for the employee. But as soon as it's not good for the employee, that's when the reciprocation ends. And that's really when the family relationship ends. When you realize that despite all your efforts as a business owner to treat your employee really, really well, that at the end of the day, they're going to do what's best for them. And if that means walking, if that means switching employers, they're going to do that. And very often they're not going to feel any remorse or any guilt for doing that. They're not going to think they owe you anything. Employees and employers think differently about the same relationship. And it's really hard sometimes for business owners to see that, or to understand that, or to appreciate it, that there just always is that natural tension going on between a business owner and their needs and an employee and their needs. They're different. They always will be. So no matter what you do as a business owner to, please your people, appease your people, treat them well so they'll stay, there is always the likelihood, or at least the risk, that that employee will leave at some point. So you need to prepare yourself for that. You need to always have in the back of your mind kind of plan Bs in place if a key employee were to leave, or if any employee were to leave, because it happens all the time to business owners. And so often we're surprised when it does. We should actually be more surprised when it doesn't. Because again, human nature is to do what's best for you when it's best for you. And as business owners, I think we're guilty of that lots of times. So how can we expect the same, not to see the same behavior in our employees sometimes? So my advice to you is certainly, if treating your staff like family is important to you, I would certainly encourage you to do that or to continue doing that. I think there's significant value in treating people well and caring for the needs of people. However, I would just put a caveat to that and remind you that no matter how good you treat someone, there is always the possibility that they'll leave. So resign yourself to that, accept it, don't hold on too tight to the staff members you have, and just realize that life changes for everyone, for you, for your business, and for your employees. And just be prepared for when that day comes that one of your staff is leaving, because that day will come. So I hope that maybe gives you a little bit of insight into the employer-employee relationship, and it may give you just a little bit of wisdom or give you pause in how you're structuring your company, how you're treating your employees. So I hope that was helpful, and I will look forward to seeing you on the next video.